Hello, 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 hello. How is everyone today? Hopefully you're good. Buttons, get everything started here. Take a minute, get situated, get everything together. Traceless says, "Goddamn, the beard already growing back, dude." Yeah, well, testosterone. That's what happens. You grow back your hair. Okale, nice to see you. Oh, we got a lot to talk about today. Kinetic Pause, subscribe with Prime on Twitch. Thank you. 20 months on a 17-month streak. Look at you go. Thank you. I do appreciate you. I do appreciate you. Zephyr Hash, political violence, same breakfast again? Well, we're also going to talk about the Comey indictment, which just happened. Quantum Fantasy, a member tier 1 for 18 months. Nice. Nice. I'll excuse you a moment. Your broken earbud is too quiet. Left is best. Red versus blue. Lots to talk about. Lots to go on. Lots to give commentary on. And we are taking calls today. I know Andrew Mercado wanted to call in to talk to me about a few things. And I'm going to give him priority when he gets here. Other than that, though, let me get you guys the link. Hello. You're live.
Hello. Okay, cool. Let me get you pulled up here. You're alive too.
Oh, that's great. Just give me 1 second.
No problem. Let me switch this over so I can turn on my camera.
All good.
Second. Okay. Which one is? Oh, there I am. Okay. It should be coming on here.
Okay.
There I am.
Great.
There I am.
I can see you. You can see me. Everything's good.
Beautiful.
Okay. So for my audience, just to let you guys know what's going on, Andrew reached out to me over the weekend after I made a post on the Trump assassination attempt number 4, number 3, something like that. Anyway, he had an issue with something I said. Do we want to read the post real quick or?
Yep.
Let
For
me
transparency.
bring that up. Hold on. We can all read it together. Okay, can you see it? Everyone good?
Yep. It's up now.
I say, morality aside, this does nothing for us. It only hurts us and makes it harder. Even if it had been successful, everything would have gotten significantly harder and made significantly worse. And yes, this kind of thinking is good to call out, no matter who the shooter ends up being or why they do it. I've seen some gremlins already doing gremlin things, like A, herder, wish he would have succeeded. B, excuse me, now you can't criticize the president or Republicans ever again. Herder. And C, it's staged. It's all a scam. No, I have no evidence, but the vibes. Just stop. I don't know. I think that's a banger tweet, but that's me.
Can you understand how it can be viewed as like a forced centrism take on it, and how you're trying to police the reaction?
Like, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, we both agree the distrust and trust in the Trump administration is at an all-time high for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
As it should be. Like, honestly,
Yeah, for sure.
they just indicted Comey today for the 8647 bullshit. It's insane. Anyway, but yes, we agree on that. That's something we are agreeing on.
Definitely. So I guess I should ask then, who do you mean then when you say this does nothing for us?
Democrats.
Like, who are you talking?
People who oppose Trump and want him out of office.
Do you think people that just generally oppose Trump want to kill him?
Of course not.
Okay. And do you feel that you are cultivating an audience of violent individuals that want to take their political action beyond further?
I don't think so, no. I think I advocate against that, yeah.
Yeah, you do. I think you do too. And that's why I'm on your platform, and I'm very blessed to be. So when I'm reading that tweet on that night, I'm like, who is Wick talking to? Because I know his audience doesn't condone what happened. You certainly don't. You vividly write that out every time. So I'm wondering then who are, like, you're talking to Democrats, but I would also argue that you are politically effective. You're active in many political circles that help Democrats win elections. So you are connected there. So I'm wondering, like, because this I don't apply the actions of crazy individuals to the larger, like, Democratic Party base, or
Yeah,
like the
no,
left, I
I
guess.
understand, right? But there is a certain type of person within the circles I inhabit, and no, not all of them would I consider my audience, but I do know that they read me, I do know that they watch me, and I do know that they are aware of what I say. And these types of people are the types that I saw on that night saying things like, man, he should have hit him, right? Like, man, I wish he wasn't so incompetent at it. Like, just comments that I don't think help us at all. And I think do kind of set up this idea in people's minds that Democrats are violent. And so what I was doing is simply elucidating to them that no, this isn't okay. This isn't something we should be looking for or looking to do. And also to anyone who is not a Democrat who sees my post, it sees me condemning that behavior, and I think that's a good thing for us because I don't. Well, do you disagree with anything I said in my post, like any of the claims I was making?
I mean, of principle, no. I mean, it's not a
Yeah,
bad post, but what I'm wondering, what Democratic Party officials have said any of this?
none.
Any,
Which is why I'm
any
a Democrat, to be clear,
I,
right? But it doesn't just take Democratic Party officials to say something for it to become a problem. Like the whole commentary after the first Trump assassination attempt, where Destiny made the comments he did, I do think that hurt us going in. I do think that made it more likely that people would view us as kind of violent and things like that. And I was very critical of his conduct there. So I
right.
don't think
I
it's
guess I
yeah,
don't know too much about what Destiny had
sure,
said.
sure,
I
sure.
didn't, but like, but on this instance though, no, not a single politician came out and like like was like, oh hell yeah, or whatever. Not a single official or like somebody attached to the Democratic Party. Your followers certainly are not about this, right? Or like people you associate with aren't, except for, I think you mentioned Destiny, but I'm not. I don't know too much about that,
Sure,
so I don't
sure.
speak on it. But and then I'm just wondering, when you're putting this messaging out there, and like you say, the right wing does see it, right? And they're looking at what you're saying, and they're
Mhm.
like, okay, Wick is, and of course, you have a platform too, which right wingers go on all the time, and you invite you have an open door for the right wing, so they're looking at your tweets and they're saying, okay, Wick's condemning the violence and also kind of just calling out his, but maybe in their brains they're thinking you're calling out your own followers for what happened,
I don't
but
know if they think that. I think what they
man,
do, I think that they see me as more reasonable than others would be because I make posts like this,
you're
right?
reasonable, they're not. I'm telling you though, like in their brain, they're seeing you as like you're policing the Democrats, and like liberals or like the left for like trying to kill Trump, which is directly feeding their narratives. Like the left is violent and the left is trying to kill him. Do
I
you understand like how it kind of feeds itself? Or you like,
I
or like,
get what
what do you think on
I
that?
get what you're saying. I do understand that. I just disagree that it feeds into that. What I think it does is because there are people who aren't. I wouldn't say they're MAGA. I wouldn't say that they're Democrats. They're just kind of politically unattuned. I guess they don't really pay attention except for every once in a while when something pops up into the news. Okay, and otherwise they're they're pretty unconnected. They don't understand what's going on for the most part, but they will see things like the gas prices going and soaring, right? So that will influence them, and they'll also see the assassination attempt, right? That's going to get coverage, and they're going to see it, and they're going to have thoughts about it. And it might be that they look at what people are saying about that. And again, if you think that no one was celebrating after the assassination attempt, well, that's just not true. It wasn't a lot, and I didn't see any politicians do it. But there were a segment of people on the left who were complaining that the guy missed, saying that he should have gotten better at what he was doing and things like that. And
I would ask, how do you know that they're on the political left and not just a social media user commenting on current events for social media engagements?
well, because these are people I've seen comment on other issues and things like that,
Right.
and they seem to be
Don't you
left
feel
leaning.
it's an right? Don't you feel? Well, they seem to be. Have you? I don't know. I don't want. We don't have to because they're. Do you feel like they're just like random users, or are they connected politically to the Democratic
It
Party?
it
Right.
depends. I've seen like I don't see anyone that I've seen in like the party, right? Like
Right.
the
Well, or just
apparatus.
it doesn't. I guess not the party. I'm trying because I'm trying to broaden it so it
Sure,
because
sure.
I am trying to understand where you're coming from. But I'm
I've
talking
seen
like even
Democrats say
people.
it. Like Democratic voters, people I know voted for Kamala Harris in 2024, and I know are very anti-Trump. It's again,
Yeah.
it's not a lot of them, but it's enough that I felt like, okay, I need to say something.
Do you understand though when the right wing and well, and you know this too, MAGA all day long. If a violent thing happens, the left did it, right?
Sure.
And this is just like like all day,
Yeah, but they'll
24
say that no
hours.
matter what
Right.
I or anyone else says, no matter what I or anyone else does, that's their tagline, right? That's what they're
Right.
gonna do.
But my argument then would be is that I feel like you're like fueling that, or like you're like kind of validating that existence for them, because like you said, they're going to have that existence regardless. But I think it takes people to kind of validate that and all like, cast blame on the left. That isn't really a culture of the left. There is no culture of the left like this, except for again some social media users or maybe fringe people that you connected to. Because again, I will give that you talk to more people than I do, but at a because you directly advocate for the Democratic Party, I would argue. Is that fair to say? Like you want
Yes,
Democratic?
I want the
Okay,
Democratic Party
right.
to be successful. I want them
hmm
to overthrow the Republicans, and I
hmm
want us to take the House and the Senate in 2026. Yes.
Okay, so it's okay. So when there's no actual Democratic Party members engaging in this, it's like it opens the door to one who you're really talking to, and then like I had said, I think it feeds the right wing's false narrative of like what the left actually is, or like especially what politicians are winning elections on the left. Because as you've covered, as I'm covering, it's been a blue kind of wave here since last year going into this year. It's looking pretty good for the midterms for the
Hell
Democratic
yeah.
Party, right?
Yes. And I
So
don't want us to
so
snatch defeat from the
there's
jaws
but
of
like
victory, right?
right, but like I feel that is not. I don't feel it's like it's Democrats aren't doing it though. Like if it would be one thing if a Democratic nominee or like a new politician was speaking like this, or like the new one of the new governors, right? We've had tons of wins in the Democratic Party, but like none of them are. However, on the right wing, this is their rhetoric all day long about politicians or like their perceived political enemies, and they do wish death upon, or just the hypocrisy I think you're talking about today of like the right wing actual influencers that have connections to the administration, right? Posted 86, 46, right,
Yep.
all day, but then here you got James
Jack
Comey getting it
Posobiec did it.
exactly.
What was it? Matt
hmm
Gaetz said he 86.
Yeah.
Several people, right? This is just a common thing. So you don't have to sell me on the hypocrisy of the right. I am
Right.
with you, brother, 100%. But I don't know. Like there are three groups that I mentioned in my tweet, right? And we've talked
hmm
about the first one, which is the people who wish he succeeded. But the second one was a direct dig at Republicans that were saying, "Oh, since the president got shot at, we can't criticize the president anymore." And I saw tons of posts like that after. I'm sure you did too. Like the ballroom shit, right? For whatever
hmm
reason, they decided all to post the same day that the ballroom was the reason that the guy got shot or the guy was trying to shoot him, and so they needed a ballroom to protect him. Something. It was weird. It was a weird kind of thing I saw with the right influencers. And the third group, though, this is the third group that I will say I've seen most Democrats. Um, I won't say most, but a large portion of Democrats do say. A lot of people are saying it's staged, that it was fake, that it didn't actually, like that it was a false flag or something. I've seen that in a lot of Democratic circles. Have you not?
Yeah, I've seen that too. Do you feel that do you feel that there's maybe You know, obviously you can claim conspiracy theory on that, and like you don't want to really address that because conspiracy and whatever. But with this, given this administration and the amount of lies, like I had said, that come out on a daily basis, maybe explore it. Would you, or is it
I
something you
mean,
don't think
if
is something
you
you should
look,
explore?
if there was some evidence out there that it was staged, I'm more than willing to look at it. But people were saying this before the we knew what had happened, right? They
Well,
were automatically. This was an
do,
automatic knee jerk reaction.
do you
So
feel that happens on every single crisis ever now, though? Like anything, like
it
even if it's political or not, like
does, but
a hurricane, the Democrats and their weather machine,
yes,
right?
it does, but it's very bad that it happens at everything now. Like this is a very negative thing for not just like the Democratic Party, but for America as a whole, right? That everything now that happens, there are people who will be the most conspiratorial people ever about it, and these people have the microphone. That is a terrible thing. And it's going to lead to us getting into positions that, or it's going to train the populace to never believe anything that's anyone says from an institution, from an official body. And yeah, it's going to cause a lot of problems going forward. And thank you for the raid, Admiral Gibbs. Appreciate you, buddy.
You
Thanks.
feel that we're going to have these problems regardless, though, after this administration?
I think that yes, but the scope of it matters, and I do think that we can help to lower that problem so that it's not as big if we kind of condemn that way of thinking within our ranks. I know that the Republicans are going to think what they think, but I don't want to become MAGA light, right? And so I don't want us to be the conspiracy party. And so anytime I hear conspiratorial thinking on my side, I'm going to call it out because I think that it's antithetical to actual truth seeking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I suppose like when there's a major event and you want to make sure you get the right information right away. For example, like when Charlie Kirk was murdered, you know, I'm ideologically opposed to Charlie Kirk, obviously, you know, but when it came to what happened to him, I wanted the truth. Like we were
Oh
examining
yeah,
that. I wanted to know what the hell happened. A flood of misinformation immediately comes in, as it always does. But I'm like, again, my brain on it is, I just feel that when you are speaking to your audience like that normally, or like you're telling them, we don't do this, guys, when none of your audience, none of your followers, or nobody in the Democratic Party that wins elections or is running for office or is connected to the Democratic Party is engaging in that language. Really, it's just kind of like Democratic voters, which that's, I mean, freedom of speech, right? I don't, not that I agree with what they say. And again, I guess maybe because I come from a MAGA background, right? I
sure.
voted for Trump. I voted for Trump in 2016, right? That's the first and only time I ever voted for him. But since then, like I've had to deprogram my brain and like how I consume information and blah, 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 blah. But what I'm not trying to do is like police how people think. Like I provide them the truth, but like, you know, really trying to like frame the way that they think about things could, I think, could run into trouble. But I'm not saying you do a bad job of it because you have
You can
hours.
say if you want.
No, because you have hours long conversations with tons of people across the spectrum. That's not my argument. It's that it can be perceived that you're kind of like both kind of like trying to force the centrism on it,
I
for like, so for the right wing to be
sure.
like, you
Yeah.
see what I mean?
I understand again what you're saying. We're gonna circle on this, but I do
Right,
just
right. We don't, yeah,
disagree. I think
right.
because I there is a value, even if my audience are all angels that have never done anything wrong or said anything wrong, and that's not true. I see some of you chatting. Okay, I know who you are. Um, I think there's value in condemning something, even if you and those around you have never done it. And I don't think it's centrism, right? That's what I'm trying to understand. Like,
Right. Okay. So
I
yes,
don't
I
think
agree.
not political violence, right, or being anti-political violence is a centrist position. I think
Right.
that's
No,
just
I'm not arguing that. No,
sure,
no.
sure.
Condemning political violence is fine. It's the, when you said this, like this does nothing for us. Okay, I got you. For example, right? There was at a protest a couple weeks ago, one of the TPUSA journalists was pushed. I spoke out against that, and I was very against that because I don't think it does well for the protest. I
Oh,
don't
sure.
support hitting women. I don't support hitting women on principle, right? But I didn't try to like, you know, take it beyond that and try to like, make it into this isn't this can't be us beyond just this moment of like pushing this woman. Like I didn't try to make this a grander like I don't know.
I
It's
made a
just
post about it, man. Like
well,
it's
it's more than I thought. I saw more than one. I did
there
see
was
more than
two.
one. I just
The one when it first happened, I said this is not okay. We don't do this. It was a very simple tweet, right? Because I had no idea what happened, but I saw political violence, and that's my instinct, condemn it when I see it. And then the second one was the one you saw there, and that's the one where I was just thinking about it, and I'd seen people's reactions, and I'd seen how people were going with it, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to say something on this. But other than that, that's I guess the only other thing I'm doing about it is talking to you.
yeah,
right?
which is good. I think this is good to actually
it is.
talk about. Ironically, I know you hear that often from the right wing, but yeah, it is good to talk this stuff out. I just when I'm seeing the right wing engage in political violent rhetoric all day long, nonstop. I come from that background, so it's indoctrinated into it. Like it's more than just like this is my opinion. Like you speak to the right wing all the time. It's a full kind of cult type of brain programming that can happen there,
It can.
and to get into how they come out with the takes that they have. It's not like natural thinking about it or coming to an understanding through research and time put in, right? Or like in actual independent thinking. Some cases it can, but most cases not.
We're speaking generalities here. I just want to make it clear.
For
When we
sure.
say these things, like we're not talking
I'm
about
speaking. Okay,
all.
I will speak from my experience then, because this is my experiences like coming from MAGA
Sure.
and the right
Yeah, I
wing
got
into
you.
where I am now. Okay, so the reason why I'm able to do what I'm doing now and not have a MAGA brain is because I spend time researching and putting more time, effort into thinking. A lot of people that were like me and like MAGA do not do that, right? And they just kind of go off of headlines. From my experience and some of my friends I've had, they go off of what they see like just on social media. They're not spending the extra time. So I guess you answered my question. We don't need to circle on it anymore. I'm
Have I
glad that.
passed the test?
Hey, hold on. Political violence is bad. No, you didn't. I didn't have a test for you. I just wanted to know. I just wanted to know the
Sure.
messaging, and you answered it. I don't have
Right.
anything to debate with you,
Fair enough.
and we don't disagree on anything. We agree on everything. So
I mean, if we dug down enough, we could find something. But we're fine.
probably,
Right.
but you have Comey stuff to do today, right?
Yeah. And we got to talk about that. But thank you for calling in, and I do appreciate you coming by to chat. And if anyone has a problem with anything I do say, I'm open. I got an open door policy, and you can come and we can have a chit chat. But thank you again.
I would rather just tweet about it and not tag you or something.
True. But like make it all a real
Yeah.
big drama
Yeah.
shit, and then
You got to put a puzzle together to figure out who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
No, I'm
I'll
kidding.
talk to you later.
All right,
Okay,
Wick.
man.
Yep. See ya.
Okay. Did you guys like the first of our little chats? Let me read a couple fan funding things. Let's got Zephyr Hash for $5 says Wick is obligated to push such tweets so conservatives don't get their panties in a twist and continue to come on his show. So I'm not obligated to do it. They think I'm just some secret violent leftist anyway. Most of them do. I do it because I believe it. I'm not gonna say things I don't believe. Just in general. Okay, but this is an open call-in show. So what that means is you, yes, you can call in and discuss with me whatever you like. Before we get to that, though, I have the links in chat. So you click the link, you accept the rules, you jump backstage, and we'll pull you in. Before we get to that, though, I do want to take a moment to read the Comey indictment. It's not long. Okay? It's not long at all. And it's important. So for those of you who don't know, James Comey, the former FBI director, was indicted today because, he made a social media post last year. We can look at that post together. Give me 1 second. I'll bring that up on screen. This is the post that Comey made. He later apologized and deleted it because he felt like it was being misconstrued. His message was being misconstrued. But this is a social media post that they are referring to in the indicting documents. Okay, it's got seashells on the beach, and it says 8647. So yes, and he says, cool shell formation on my beach walk. That is what he says. I know. How dare he spread such threats. But here's the indictment that was made today. United States of America versus James Bryan Comey. Says this, count 1. On or about May 15th, 2025, in the Eastern District of North Carolina, the defendant, James Bryan Comey Jr., did knowingly and willfully make a threat to take the life of and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States, in that he publicly posted a photograph on the internet social media site Instagram, which depicted seashells arranged in a pattern making out 8647. Which a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of an intent to do harm to the President of the United States. And I'm sorry, I can't get through this with a straight face, ladies and gentlemen. The idea that a reasonable person, or reasonable recipient, as they say, would see the message 8647 and think that Comey was threatening the life of the President of the United States. Roxfist says, how quickly will this be laughed out of court? I can't imagine it going through very far. They got an indictment, right? So, but it's super easy to get an indictment. But like that's the first count. So there's a second count. It says, on or about May 15th, 2025, in the Eastern District of North Carolina, the defendant, James Bryan Comey Jr., knowingly and willfully did transmit in interstate and foreign commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill the President, Donald J. Trump, specifically by publicly posting a photograph on the internet social media site Instagram, which depicted seashells arranged in a pattern making out 8647, which a reasonable recipient who is familiar with the circumstances would interpret as a serious expression of an intent to do harm to President Trump. So they're getting their two counts, basically. The first, that he made a threat against the President of the United States, okay? They threatened to kill the President. And two, that he transmitted it across state lines or some shit, right? What's it say? In interstate and foreign commerce, right? He communicated across state lines. So they're trying to get him on both of these things. I got questions, ladies and gentlemen. The first question, who is the genius that decided that they were going to go full send with this shit? I want to shake their hand because nothing I can say will be as damaging to the Trump administration and their DOJ as this indictment. There's nothing. Like, I might as well just hang it up because nothing I can say, no commentary I can give, nothing I can speak on. None of that's going to be more embarrassing for them or more harmful for them than just this indictment in itself. It's laughable. It's insane. Remember, many in the Trump like in their administration and in their circle made 8645 posts. Trump himself reposted a picture of Biden chained up in the back of a truck being dragged off, right? No one in their right mind thinks that these are credible, serious threats on the life of any of these people, right? When Jack Posobiec said 8645, no one thought he wanted to kill Biden. No one thought that that was a serious threat, okay? When Matt Gaetz said he 86'd several people, right, from the administration, no one thought he meant that he killed them or hurt them. It means to toss out, to throw aside, to get rid of, okay? And we say this all the time. Toss the bums out. Throw the bums out. Get rid of them. But no one is thinking we mean to kill. Okay? And the idea that they would put into a legal document that someone seeing, and let me remind you of the post, someone sees this and thinks, oh my God, it's a threat. It's a threat. They're going to kill the president. They're going to kill him. I don't know. It's insane. Or 8646. Sorry, Roxfest. Yeah, I get the numbers mixed up. But you know what I mean. Crazy stuff. But yeah, if there's anyone in my audience who wants to defend the Comey indictment, I would happily put together a show and have you try to do that. $2 from my listening library says it's not harmful to Trump. His base doesn't care. Well, he can't win on his base alone, right? It does hurt Trump. I think that there's a lot of people who are just simply turned off by this administration, who may have hauled their nose and voted in 2024 for Trump, but they're seeing how this administration is playing out, and they want nothing to do with it. And I think this is reflected in polling data as well. I think this is reflected in what Trump has and has not been able to accomplish during his term, right? So I disagree. I disagree that it doesn't hurt him. I think it does. I think it absolutely hurts his base. Not his base specifically, but it hurts him. It hurts his ability to do things. But let me bring in some callers. I know I got a couple backstage, and we'll talk to them. How's that going? I hope. Oh. Subscribe. Let me bring in a person. Hello, you're live. You're muted on your end.
Oh, got it. Sorry, forgot to click the unmute. Jesus.
You're all good. What's up?
Let me close out Twitch so I don't get double audioed. Okay, much better, much better. So I think it's insane what's going on with this. Now the whole take your pick. You got the James Comey indictment, which is let me just quote a great man and say it's a witch hunt. It's a witch hunt to go after this guy. And then you got the whole passports thing with putting Trump's face on passports for like a limited run thing.
So
That's
I saw
also
that.
like
So if
retarded.
my audience
sorry,
doesn't
stupid.
know, my audience,
Sorry, I didn't mean to say that word.
You're fine. If my audience doesn't know, one of the things that Trump is trying to do is put his mandate that on all passports issued, you have Trump's face. Okay? So if you are getting a U.S. passport, it'll have Trump's face on the passport. So, yay. Anyway, continue.
So we got that. I do think this is all. I mean, it is definitely a political stunt by the right, and Trump's administration pursuing this for something that was over a year ago it's just interesting timing. They're doing it right around the midterms too, so I feel like it's a strategic part on their end to try to like some desperation attempt. My theory would be to try to swing some votes in their favor because they know they're losing miserably. That's just how I view it, because it's like, oh, look at this guy on the left. We can make look how bad the left's being. They're saying this evil stuff about Trump, even though he deleted it, which is like him saying like, hey, listen, people got the wrong idea. What I was trying to say from this is why he deleted that post. Then you got people like Prosevic that sorry, I probably butchered his name. I don't know how to fucking say his last name. The right wing fucker, Jack.
I don't know how to say
Prosevic, yeah. But because he said, I think you already touched base on them because he was the one saying the 8646 in his post. I was like, nobody's going after him for that. I don't even think the Democrats would go after him for that. I really don't.
Of course not, because it's
because I know how
silly.
stupid it is.
We might like wag our fingers on social media or something, but no one's bringing charges. That would be insane to do.
There was also shit I was thinking about. There's so much shit that just happened like since over the weekend and then this week, like politically. There's always something new going on with the Trump admin and just in general, like with them. And I would say their quote unquote war with the left is in like their agenda to just demonize the whole left and liberal side and just say, look how bad all these people are. I don't like that. Like, I think it's disingenuous for them to lump in the people that do like terrible things. You got like the guy, the butler, and then you have the guy for the White House Correspondents' Dinner. That both those things were terrible. I condemn both of those things, and I could easily say as a liberal or left person, Democrat, whatever you want to call me. I know you've condemned it yourself. We had a very prominent person on the liberal side that may have said things he probably shouldn't have. Destiny, not name dropping, but name dropping.
Yeah.
But I saw you called that out immediately though. I remember like I was on X during the night that happened. I saw his post. I saw your reply. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, Destiny, why'd you say this? Why'd you say this, Destiny?
It didn't
Because I
help
know
us
he
at
was.
all, and it didn't help
Yeah,
him personally either. Just real quick, I don't know what's up with YouTube. Am I still live? Like
I didn't see you
it's
live on
showing I
YouTube.
have 0 viewers, 0 likes, and 0 money. And I know I've gotten money from this because people super chat at me. So what's going on with my YouTube? You guys can
Yeah,
see
when I
me.
looked at
Okay,
your
chat's
channel, all I saw you on
working.
Twitch. When I was looking at your channel, all I saw you on was Twitch. I didn't see YouTube, but maybe
Oh,
it is
I'm
live
always on
now.
both. I see about 61. Like I don't know. I'm looking at my stats here, and it says no one is here. But I don't know. But whatever. Okay. Yeah.
Um,
Let's keep
so
going.
yes, this is good discussion, but no, I think that it is a serious issue though. What I think is the right's using it as like a political agenda against the left as a whole. Like every time something bad happens to their party, they just like fixate on a whole group of people. They don't fixate on just the one person that did the wrong thing. They try to lump that person in with a whole entire group of people, which is stupid. Um, and the whole like disavowing thing is where I was going at with that was with Destiny was somebody that did that he was like I'm tired of disavowing violence because like you guys never really do, which is true. They really don't unless it happens to somebody on their side.
No,
But there's
I
never
understand. I understand that, and I understand the criticism of the right that they don't really disavow their own violence. They always deflect to like, well, actually they weren't really right wing, or actually it was the left's fault, or actually, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? Like they'll make all these excuses, but they'll never really disavow. Not usually. What I would say to that though is I don't let my morality be dictated about by what the other side does in this case.
I think
Like,
that's fair.
even if the other side doesn't condemn a single thing of violence on their side, I'm still going to condemn it on my side or in general. I think that I don't know. I don't care. When it comes to whether I say it or condemn something or not, I don't care what other people do. I only care what I do
Yep.
and what I think I should do. That's my opinion.
The thing I think with the whole politics in general with the right though, like there's an issue I've noticed. Like even I've like people I associate not associate with, I have friends that are on the opposite end of politically, like how I view things politically. They still like think the whole thing with the 2020 election, they still push that the rigged election like 6 years later, which is insane to me. When it was literally disproven by their own like lawyers and stuff they hired for like to try to find election fraud. Now, like I think my one friend was telling me he's like, oh, they found a whole bunch of fraud in like one state or something. I was like, I don't know what he's referring to because he didn't show me any source or anything. He just said like it's kind of like hearsay to me, like oh, we found all this fraud, election fraud from 2020, and didn't give me a source
Okay,
though.
you're gonna notice that they're gonna say that, and then
Yeah,
nothing. They'll find
yeah.
nothing. Nothing will be brought forward, right?
I mean I absolutely agree. Like I think it's stupid. I think I just think they need to like maybe it's too harsh for me to say it, but it's just the way it is. They need to get over it. Like we're in 2026, we're not in 2020. Why are they still fixated on the past? And it's literally
Well,
because
it's
their
about a
daddy
narrative.
lost.
It's
Their
about a
daddy lost the
narrative.
election.
The whole kind of story that they tell themselves is that Biden didn't really win in 2020, that it was stolen, that the left cheats and they steal elections, and therefore, because the left cheats, because the left steals elections, certain things are permissible. Thank you, Mercado Media, for the 18-person raid. I appreciate you, buddy. But yeah, this is a story that they tell themselves because they want to justify to themselves and to their followers the actions that they're willing to take against the other side. Mercado Media, thank you for the raid of 4 people. Why are there 2 of you? And why? What's going on? But thank you for the raid, buddy. I do appreciate that. And thank you for the talk earlier. But yeah, that's why they do it, and this is why that you're going to hear Republicans be unable to answer a simple question: who won the 2020 election. They're going to say like wishy-washy things like, well, Biden was the certified winner, right? Or they'll say things like, well, I believe that the courts decided it was Biden, things like that. They'll never just come out and say that Trump lost in 2020 because they can't. It destroys their narrative. And so here we are. I don't know.
It's just annoying like that I still have to hear about it like all the time. Like every time I hear about it, it just annoys me. I was like, guys, like just accept the way things are. Like if what you're telling me out of all the elections in history, that this one specifically because it was Trump lost it, that one was rigged. But all the other elections we had in the past, all of them
they
were on
say
the up
that
and
the
up.
other
And
elections were rigged too, but it's
well, I haven't
just
heard that from like at least my friends at least, thank God. But I didn't know there's people that actually think that idiotically
the
though.
whole I just want to make this clear. On the Republican side, the whole idea of rigged elections is not new. What is new is before Republican officials wouldn't say that. It would be the base, right? It would be the people, the voters saying, look, they just stole it from us, things like that. The conspiracy nuts, the Rush Limbaughs, right? It wasn't until Trump that it became something that was said by actual Republican politicians. And then it kind of spread like wildfire. And yeah, here we
Wasn't
are.
that kind of dangerous though too? Like the way I look at that's pretty dangerous. It's for a head political figure to be saying that, and then people are going to believe that because they're like, well, if it's coming from a president, they must be telling the truth. That's how they're going to look at it. Well, they're right at least.
That's
Now,
one
obviously,
of the
the people with
reasons that it
brain.
was that was one of the reasons why it was very destructive to our democracy for Trump to
Jan
push that
6.
lie as long as he did.
Yep.
Yeah,
And then
well,
that
the
was
January
the
6th
other
was
thing.
above and beyond too, right? It wasn't just pushing the lie; it was actual acting on it, right? And
But there were lies pushed about that. Like the lies just kept continuing to further lies. People, the whole like conspiracies with the six are like, oh, the FBI was planted there. Yeah, Trump's FBI, Trump's FBI.
It's all conspiracy.
Did it was
man.
Biden? Joe
Conspiracy.
Biden just he just got into office. It's like just Joe Biden did it the same day. He planted all these people here. I was like, come on, get the fuck out of here. It's so annoying.
But thank you for calling in. I do appreciate you, man. And
yes, thank you for having me, Wick.
Yeah, I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Bye bye.
Yep.
What a nice guy. Enjoyed him. There's a few others. I saw 2 others backstage. Where did you go? Come back. I will bring you in, and we will have a discussion about whatever it is that you want to have a discussion about, because we're doing call-ins today. We are doing community engagement, ladies and gentlemen. So it is. Let's see if we can find a couple things here while we wait. Oh, here we go. Hello, you're live.
Whoa.
Hi.
How you doing?
So far so good, but you just got here, so we'll see, right? What's up, brother?
I could always fuck it up. How are you feeling about the blue-red button debate?
I think that, look, I'm a blue button pusher.
Yeah.
I think that in this scenario, so for those of you who don't know, the blessed ignorant few, who don't know what the blue-red discourse is. So there was a
the most
question.
cancerous discourse since the heat maps.
There was a question that was posed on X recently. It's not the first time this question has been asked. But basically, the scenario is this. There is a vote that is taken, a private vote, where everyone in the world, okay, is teleported to a private voting booth where they are presented with 2 buttons. Here's the deal. If over 50% of the population presses the blue button, everybody lives. If over 50% of the population presses the red button, red lives, but everyone who pushed blue dies. The question is, what do you push? I, personally, am a blue button pusher. I know people in my life who would push blue for a variety of reasons, trying to protect other people. They don't want to contribute to death, even even disconnectedly, right? And the only thing that would save those people that I love and I cherish is pressing blue. It's the only thing that has a chance of saving them. I also don't want to make it harder for the people who press blue to live. I don't think anyone needs to die in this scenario, and I'm a blue button pusher, and that's my kind of way of thinking. What about you, just a little guy? Are you a blue button pusher or a red button pusher?
Well, we've spoken in other servers, and so yeah, I'm a blue button pusher.
True. Good.
Yeah.
That's what I think of the Discord. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's I. So after speaking with a lot of people about the subject, I understand how you can rationalize both options, especially our position, the blue button position. But diving deeper into red button, I can understand. Yeah, you may want to preserve yourself. You may want to not risk the gamble at all. That you could die if you hit the blue button.
Yeah, look, there's a threshold where I'd push the red button. So
Yeah.
for example, if blue needed 90% to win, I'm pushing the red button because I don't think we can get to 90%.
Yeah.
But 50%, I think that humanity would get to 50%. I do believe that. And I think, to back me up, every time this experiment is tried, whether it be in polls, whether it be in Twitter kind of things, blue wins, right? Blue wins when you ask the question. Ayala, if you guys are familiar with her, in her community, they did this with actual stakes. So she set up a system where if you were in her server, you had to push red or you had to push blue. And if 50% of the server pushed blue, no one would be banned. If 50% of the server pushed red, everyone who pushed blue would be banned from the server. So,
Right.
yeah. And blue
And
won in that case too. So, I mean, like, I know that wasn't the same stakes as literal life on the line, but for some people, man, look, all I know is when someone gets banned from my server, sometimes it's like I killed them because they are very, very angry at me and they DM me a lot. So,
well,
you
sometimes
know,
they deserve it though. But I think there's definitely a larger conversation there, like whether you're talking about the moral principle of someone who presses either button, or you could get into what the worldview is of someone who would push either button. So maybe someone who pushes red button but rationalizes it as, well, it's the logical option. And yeah, I can see that. And they believe that majority of people would press that button because it is the logical option. But I turn around and look at the observations of behavioral economics, and I'm like, I'm not too sure about that, King, because most people aren't rational like that, and sometimes a lot of people are just
well, yeah,
out
they'll see
altruistic
the blue
in a
button.
shallow
Oh,
way.
everybody lives, and they'll just smack it, and that's it.
Yeah. So maybe it is the case that majority of people are midwits and will pick the red button because herder my game theory. And then maybe on the other ends of the bell curve, we have on the bottom end pure dumb altruism blue button pushers. And then on the top end of the bell curve, though I wouldn't put myself there, uh, the pragmatic conversation of, do we really want to consider the possibility of living in a world where there's majority red button pushers, to where they would be willing to sell out
Only
people?
if there is a look, if red wins, the only people left alive will be the people who push red. And do you
Yeah,
want to live in a world, like you said, with people who would push red? Um,
I think I do, but at the same time, do the red button pushers mm, care that they are making that gamble when they do that?
well, it's a
Because
safety thing too.
they will just simply hone in on the gamble you're making on your life when you push blue.
Yeah, and look, I understand. I do, because it is a risk, and if someone doesn't have a very big circle of friends, or if they don't have a lot of close relatives or family members, I can understand the argument, and it's perfectly, I don't think it's immoral necessarily to push red, because fear is a real thing, and you can push red and hope blue wins, right? And I know a lot of people would do that. They'd push red hoping that blue wins, but they're so scared that they're not willing to risk it, so they hit red. Like I said, I would hope that in the actual situation that I would be able to push blue. I think I would. Simply because, again, I know a lot of people in my life who would push blue, and I wouldn't want to lose them. And I know a lot of people who just, I don't know. It's just, I don't want to live in a world where most people push red. I think that's a bad world to live in. I don't think we live in that world, to be clear. $5 from J Ray to say, just wanted to say that Ryan discussion yesterday was painful. You owned him again. Well, thank you for the $5, J Ray.
It was like, I think it was largely a good discussion. Like, I don't particularly care for Ryan, mainly because I don't know anything about him, but especially the button debate, I did check in on, and I was like, that's reasonable.
Yeah, it was a fine conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else I can help you with, dear sir?
You're gay.
Cool. Gotta get that one last dig in. One last dig in. Okay. Zero Fuck says, or push red in the hopes that everyone is logical enough to push a button that does not entail death, except for the people that want it. Zero Fucks, if you're pushing the button thinking that most of the world is logical or rational, I question your judgment. I just do. I think most people will behave rationally is a silly way to look at the world because most people don't. $5 from Lord of the Nerds says the red blue button question is the best modern low IQ virtue signaling NPC identifier in existence. Okay. But which way are you thinking of this, right? Because I've heard that argument from both sides. So crazy. I think people don't look, people say, I've heard people say it's a prisoner's dilemma problem. It's not. It's a theory of mind problem. So you have to be able to put yourself, right, into the head of other people and how they would react in a certain situation, right? And can you accurately predict how a majority of the world's population will behave under a certain circumstance? And the things that I know about humanity in general is that, yes, we do have a self-preservation instinct, but if all you require is someone to be able to push a button in order to try to protect their loved ones, that bar is so low that many people will do that. Many people will think of their wives, of their husbands, of their brothers, of their sisters, of their friends, right? And they will wonder to themselves, is this person going to push blue? And I think that as soon as they start thinking about that, most people will hit the blue button. Not everyone. And once again, it's not necessarily immoral to hit the red button. Again, there's scenarios in which I would. But I do think that the red button pushers have to recognize and reckon with the fact that by pushing red, they are making it more likely that the people who push blue die. And if you want to see kind of like what an apocalypse looks like, imagine 30% of the world, 2 billion people overnight dying. Just dropping dead. Imagine how, at random, pretty much. Imagine how that affects logistics, how that affects food, power, energy, all these things. Yeah, it's going to be pretty bad. And the social cohesion that would result, or the lack of social cohesion that would result from such an event. Oh, it'd be terrible. It would be terrible. Zephyr Ash for $5 says, I will push the blue button, but only if Heath Ledger's Joker is there beside me saying, Here we go. And then I will look at him and say, F you, Joker. Aaron Gray says, I don't associate with irrational people. I don't know. Brother, anyone who says that they don't associate with irrational people in my YouTube chat, I don't believe you. I simply don't believe you. $2 from Lord of the Nerds says, it's an IQ test with brainlets thinking it a moral one. Do you not think that there is a moral dimension to the problem? Do you not think that there's a moral dimension in picking and making a choice where risk has been introduced to the system? A large risk has been introduced to the system. Okay? You are unable to communicate with anyone else. You don't know how anyone else is going to be voting. You aren't able to advocate for your side. You're simply presented a choice. Okay? Red or blue. And you can do one of two things. You can either push the red button, in which case you are alleviating yourself of personal risk, but you are adding to the overall risk for everyone else, right? An unknown number of people, okay? You are eliminating personal risk, but you are increasing the risk for everyone else because it's now harder for them to get to that 50% threshold that they need, okay? If you push blue, you are taking on an unknown amount of risk with the possible chance of either dying or protecting everyone else who hit blue, okay? So it's a risk problem at the end of the day. And it's a what do you value problem as well. And a lot of people will value themselves, and that's a perfectly valid thing to value. But there are most of us, I feel, most of humanity does not just value themselves, but they value other things and other people higher than themselves. And many of them will worry that these other people might push blue. And in order to try to protect them, they are willing to accept the unknown risk. That's the theory of mind that I have for the problem. Lord of the Nerds, you haven't made an argument. You just keep saying it's an IQ test. Explain. Call in. It's a call-in show, buddy. Come on in. Oh, Robert Paulson says, okay, fine, Wick, but was the dress blue and black or white and gold? I don't remember. I don't remember that. I remember there was an audio one, too, where people kept hearing, was it Yanni or Charles or something, right? Something like that. Chaotic One says, are people who can't push buttons due to disabilities immune from this problem? The hypothetical is everyone. And the guy who made the hypothetical clarified that everyone means everyone. So toddlers and shit would be mashing buttons at random, right? So, yeah, there's going to be, well, how many toddlers in the world? Let's look while we wait for callers. How many toddlers are in the world? There's about 700 million under the age of 5, okay? We can assume that half of those people would push blue on accident because they like blue. It's prettier. They don't understand what's going on, right? So 350 million, let's just assume it's half. Toddlers are at risk here in this situation. FBI is now tapped into the stream. Laurel Yanni, thank you, Zerofox. I forgot the exact terminology here, but I appreciate that. Chaotic One says, what if it's just you and a bunch of toddlers pushing the buttons? Now we have a proper trolley problem? Well, again, the scenario is specifically everyone in the world, so that means everyone. Yeah. Snizzler says, why wouldn't everyone press the blue button to guarantee their loved one's safety? Because for some people, they don't know. Well, the reason you push red is because you're uncertain that blue can win, and you are not willing to take the risk of dying just to contribute in a small way to blue winning. That would be why. And again, if you think blue is going to lose, if you think it has no chance of winning, then the logical conclusion is to push red because there's nothing you can do to stop it. You pushing blue won't make them win, and you don't want to die, so you push red. But if you think the vote's going to be close, or if you think the vote is going to be blue, I think that blue is the way to go. For all the reasons I listed. Flaming Pie says, Wick, your current beard length is perfect for your face. Well, thank you, I think. Lord of the Nerds says, and let all the babies die and try nothing, lol. But what about the babies? Look, again, there is a threshold here. Like if blue needed 90%, I wouldn't push blue. And that sucks for the babies. But I think that there's a very real chance that blue has to win. So you push blue. It's that simple. For me, at least. Lord of the Nerds, are you having an issue? Like, are you having an issue that you need help with? Should we call a doctor? Like, what's going on? I don't understand. Sounds wishy-washy as fuck. Lord of the Nerds, call in, please. I don't understand. Am I so emotional? What argument have I given that you would consider an illogical argument? I've given you reason. I've stated I think people will do X because of Y and Z, and I think that I have an obligation to try to protect the people in my life who would push blue, and therefore, and I don't want to contribute and make it harder for blue to win. So therefore, in the hypothetical presented, where we need 50% to win, I think that we have a real shot of gaining that, and therefore I pick blue. That is rational. That is logical. That is something that you can agree with or disagree with, but simply disagreeing with a set of reasoning, right, does not make it emotional, and it doesn't make it illogical. If you have a logical, rational reason that you should push red, present it. I might disagree, but if you present it in a logical and rational way, then it's not emotional. I don't think you're illogical. I just think that you're weighing things incorrectly. And these are how we have discussions as adults. But the internet breaks people's brains. And I'm guilty of this to an extent, too, on occasion, right? But we assume because we disagree that the other person must be stupid, emotional, illogical, whatever buzzwords that you want to use. But these are shortcuts, gang, to get around actually dealing with the arguments presented. They're shortcuts. I don't have to counter you, right? I could just call you dumb. And I could just, puff out my chest and be like, oh, only the smart people pick this. All the people who pick the other thing are dumb, right? I could do that. And that's, frankly, how arguments online work in many cases, right? You posture. And the person who postures the best wins. But it is, again, not dealing with any of the arguments I've made. It is, again, not dealing with any of the things that I presented that I feel are evidence that why you should do the activity that I am asking you to do, right? Because I would advocate that people push the blue button because No one needs to die. No one needs to die. And we know that through accident, through misunderstanding, through a whole different variety of reasons, there are going to be millions, if not billions, who push blue. So you can either A, decide, well, the risk is too great. I can't risk it. I value myself too much. I'm going to have to push red here. Or you can take on some risk to protect the people in your life that you love that you think would push blue, right? Is either one an immoral choice? No. It can be, but in the way I presented it, no. So. Yes, Lord of the Nerds, and yes, because if the variables change, my decision changes. I think blue has a good enough chance of winning that it is something that I should do. Like, I'll give you an example. If I come across someone being raped, okay? And it's some dude who's like 5'4", 100 pounds soaking wet, and he's just raping this girl. Yeah, I'm going to jump in. I'm going to fuck that guy up because I can take him. Okay? If I come across someone being raped and it's like 10 dudes and they all got like baseball bats and guns and shit, I'm going to call the cops, and I'm not going to try to break that up because there's no way I can do it. Like, there would be 2 victims instead of just one. So yes, the difficulty of a thing changes what I would do in that situation. It changes the calculus. That's just a logical way to go about living and existing and making decisions. It's we see a situation where we can have an impact, then we have an obligation to try to make that impact. Where if we see a situation where the odds of us making an impact are so very low, or the odds of us succeeding are so very low, and the risk is so very high, then yes, it's a risk. It's a risk analysis. That's what it is. It's a risk analysis. Like, is 50%, is that risky? Yes, but it's doable. 90%, I don't think that's doable, and the risk doesn't reduce, so I'm still not going to do that. $5 from Lord of the Nerds says, if neither option is immoral, then it isn't a moral question. You don't go buy a clue. It is a moral question because why you make the choice is, again, rooted in your morality. It isn't just a question of which you push. It is a question of why. And it is in the why that you get to the morality of the thing. Because there are people who would say, I push red because I hope all those losers that push blue die. That is a moral issue that they have, right? They want blue to die, so they are pushing red in hopes that they do. They have made an immoral action. The reason that they are pushing red is immoral. I'll give you one on the other side. They push blue, hoping blue loses and that they will be suicided and die. I view that as immoral as well. So yes, it is a moral question. The question of when is it okay to take an action? Why should we take that action or not take that action? When should we assume risk? When is it too much to assume risk? These are all moral questions in why we make that choice. Do you understand? Maybe not. Policy Parade says, you look odd. What did you do to your face? I shaved it. Shaved the beard. Do I look odd? I do look kind of odd. If all you've seen is bearded Wick, I get it. I get it. Supreme Grow says, "Hi Wick, hi chat, like achieved." Well, thank you for liking the stream. And it is a call-in stream, gang. So you are all free to call in and talk to me about whatever it is you like. So you hit that link that I've got pinned in the YouTube chat, or if you're on Twitch, hit !Discord. Click the link. You accept the rules by clicking on my face emoji, okay? And then once you've done that, you'll be able to see all the channels. You jump backstage, which is at the top of the Discord, and I'll pull you in, and we'll have discussion. It'll be fun. I hope it will be fun. I can't promise. Axnim says it's an exercise in methodology, not morality. It is both. Your methodology is informed by your morality, right? How much risk are you willing to take? There are certain people who say, I don't want to, zero risk. I have no obligation right here at all. I'm going to push red because I don't value anyone outside myself. Boom. Easy call for that kind of morality, right? Flaming Pie says his beard looks different but better. Well, again, taste may vary. Okay, I've heard people say that I need to get it full wizard length again as soon as I can, and then people like Flaming Pie says no, keep it safe, keep it simple. Human Wrong says I would reject the idea that red pickers are somehow more selfish. I think that. Well, I think definitionally they're more selfish, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're bad or wrong, right? It's okay to be selfish in certain situations. It's okay to prioritize your life above someone else's. That's okay to do in most scenarios. I would think it's like how much risk someone's willing to kind of take in order to defend others is a question. And is that a selfish question? Maybe. I don't know. $5 from Zephyr Hash to say, imagine the constant fear of a backstab all the red pressers would feel if all the blue pressers Minecraft. It would be a sight to behold. Well, I mean, that's another consideration to take into account. What happens if your side wins? If blue side wins, then everyone's good, right? If red side wins, you've just started the game, right? Like now, depending on how many push blue, you're in a fight for survival, right? Like a literal fight for survival. And you're going to have some real bad cookies out there doing real bad things and willing to prioritize themselves over anyone else. And, well, you'll have to live in the world that you got, right? Yeah. Human Wrong says it's like the trolley problem, except instead of two tracks, there's one, and everyone can choose to either lay on the track or not. And if at least 50% of the people lay on the tracks, the train doesn't come. Except for not precisely, because you don't get a choice not to participate, right? Everyone has to push a button. No one can opt out. You either push red and make it more likely that everyone who pushed blue dies, or take upon yourself some collective risk and push blue. Risking death, but making it less likely that everyone who pushed blue dies. And those are the choices that you have, right? Pushing red is not a opt-out, right? It is I am making it harder for everyone who pushed blue to live. And it's not a lot harder. It's a very minuscule amount percentage-wise. But it does push the ball in that direction. And again, I want to say that that is sometimes okay to do because it is okay to prioritize yourself. For me, I would not do that because I value others in my life that I suspect would push blue more than myself. And I wouldn't be able to live myself if I knew that I contributed to their death, even in a small way. The moral question would be whether the blue button pushers should prevent red button pushers morally. Well, that's outside of the hypothetical, right? Like if we expanded the hypothetical, okay, and we say that this is announced a month in advance. So, God, aliens from the sky descend and say, okay, in a month, this is the experiment we're going to push on you guys. Okay? Everyone, every single person, from toddlers to the geriatrics, are going to be pushing a button. Okay? And then you have a month to figure out which way you're going to push and what you're going to do. First of all, the chaos that would result would be deadly. Like, people would die no matter what. It would just be crazy bedlam for a lot of reasons. 2, I suspect most governments would use or try to use force to force people to push blue. I suspect that's the case. So we're talking SWAT teams, we're talking military patrols, things, all these things. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It changes the hypothetical though, and depending on how that process goes, could change how people vote, right? So I don't know. Yes, Zero Fox, you get to talk to people. They get to coordinate. They get to plan. They get to convince. They get to yap, right? The social media be crazy, right? Malik says, I was already pushing Redwick. You don't have to sell it to me. But yeah, I would have to see how it goes, right? Like in that scenario, if I'm watching that scenario play out and it becomes apparent that almost everyone's going to be pushing red, then I'm going to push red. Arctic Mule, you missed what the buttons do? Okay, it's real quick. So again, you presented with 2 buttons, a red button and a blue button. If over 50% of the people on the world push the blue button, everybody lives. Nothing happens. If over 50% of the people push the red button, everyone who pushed the blue button dies. Well, wouldn't that be Zero Fox? Wouldn't that be the trick, right? That the aliens lie and say the red button does X and the blue button does Y, but it's really the reverse. Wouldn't that be funny? Sorry about that. I had a little bit of a phone call I had to deal with. Did you guys just not like me anymore? What's going on? No one's calling in. Do you guys not want to talk? Do you guys not want to yap? Do you guys not want to fight about the blue button stuff? I don't know. We got Comey that was indicted. Does no one want to defend that? I don't know what's going on here. Like, people... Look, I wish I wish that the Comey indictment had come out on Sunday, and then I think my argument yesterday would have been a lot more clear to Ryan. And I would have liked to see how he dealt with the incongruity there. Like, we talk about the greatest threat to free speech in our lifetimes. Trump's obviously that at this point. I don't think, especially with the Comey indictment, I don't think anyone can argue otherwise in a serious manner. I just don't think that there's an argument there. But let me bring on Robert Paulson. How you doing, buddy?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. You sound super excited to be here. I love the energy. Okay.
Sorry.
It's
That's
okay.
great. All right.
What do you got?
So first of all, I like the scruff. I just think that you're a fucking baller when you have it clean shaved.
Fair enough.
I just really wanted to point that out.
Fair enough. Okay.
All right.
Vote for
Second of
clean-shaven
all,
Wick.
this
Gotcha.
is actually somewhat of a real question. Do you remember Raj Royale back in the day on Twitch?
I've heard of it. I never watched it, but people have told me that it was basically the original panel show.
It was pure mayhem. So it was voting based. So you bring on, I mean, I think at some point they'd have up to like 15 guests in one lobby, and then after 30 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever, everybody would vote on who to kick. And the host could, you know, if it was two people, kick them. If it was one person, whatever. They did all sorts of ways. This is where I first watched Destiny and Hassan debate for like the first time. It was good
Okay,
shit.
you've been watching this stuff for a while then. Okay.
And I just, God, I would love to see something like that back, man. If you look up just one of the VODs, probably a compilation on YouTube, and watch that and get a feel for it, there was just nothing like it. But I think you could recreate it, honestly. I do.
I'd have to check it out, maybe. I don't know. Like the chaos stuff can be lucrative, but I don't want to just do chaos stuff. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, no. I would just, it'd be neat to do as like a one-off kind of situation.
Maybe.
But yeah, speaking of one-off situations, though, have you done a woke right panel yet?
I think I have. I've done a couple of those.
Man, I just feel like we need another one.
We had a few others. It's been a while though.
I would like to definitely see some people on the right defend, like in earnest, 8647 and the Jimmy Kimmel joke. My God, guy's 79 years old, and he makes a joke about him dying soon, and they're like, "My fucking political violence."
I would love to have. I'm trying to set up. I made a tweet about this earlier, asking for people willing to defend the Comey indictment. I haven't gotten any responses.
Nothing.
But I would love to have someone like, where are all the big right-wing people that want to defend this stuff? Why won't they come on and defend it? I can get big left-wing people. No problem. I could get IRI, I could get Destiny, I could get Hutch, I could get all sorts of left-wingers, right? That would debate them on this. But they won't. They won't. Like the actual Justice Warrior guy, he'd never come on my show. What's his face? What's his name? Tim Pool. I don't think he'd ever come on my show. All the big people that I think would defend this, I don't see them coming on my show to defend.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And for that matter, I'm not sure how many you're gonna find that aren't those folks. Just because I feel like a lot of people, ironically, it is kind of a waiting game with Trump. Maybe that's why that struck a nerve with what Kimmel said. Is like a lot of people out there are like, "Will this guy fucking die?" We really need to get out from under this albatross. So many people are just kind of waiting for it to happen at this point, and they don't want to defend him because he's fucking lost it.
Probably. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well,
but anyway, thanks for calling in, man. I really appreciate you.
I appreciate you, brother. Again, shave that. It would be better between my thighs if it was shaved.
Okay,
and,
I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye-bye.
Love you.
Love you, brother. Okay, so yeah. Mr. Mandela Effect says none of them want to argue with you because you have no motion. I have the ability to get people on that are millions of subscribers, right? Like millions of potential views. Like the idea that I have no motion is kind of crazy given the circles I run in, the people who watch me, the folks who react to me, the folks that talk about me, right? Like the idea I have no motion is kind of silly. I understand why you wouldn't want to because you can't defend and don't want to try. And I think that that's where we're at, right? is that there are a lot of people who look at what's going on, and they're on the right, and they can't defend it. And if they try to, they look stupid. So what they do is they just don't talk about it, or they stick to their own silos, and they basically echo chamber the shit out of it, right? Where no pushback is given to anything they say, right? At least not in real time. And that's it. And they make video essays, okay? That's it. It's because they know any sort of real-time debate, they'll get their shit pushed in. Rob Noor think he's too good for me now? Well, I don't think about Rob Noor at all. It's funny. When I used to have him on, I was much smaller. And now that I don't have him on, I'm much bigger. So. Take that for what it's worth. OT Marty says, in what way does that not describe yourself? Almost anyone who invites me on their show, I will come on their show. And if they want to challenge me on any of my takes, I'm more than willing to be challenged on my take. Can you, other than the people who I've decided not to work with ever because of personal issues, I can't think of anyone on the right that I wouldn't go on their show. I can't think of a single one. Nick Fuentes, I'd go on his show. Tim Pool, I've been on his show. I can't think of a single person. And if they wanted to come on my show, I'd have them. I'd happily. I'm begging and pleading, please come on my show and have this discussion. And it's not just the big people. I'll take the small people too. I'll take the little guys, okay? I'll take the zero viewer Andys. I don't care. If you're willing, in good faith, to argue that the Comey indictment was legitimate and that Comey legitimately made a threat against the President of the United States' life, please contact me. We'll set it up. I'll make a show out of it. It'll be great and fun and amazing. Okay. 507 Canadian dollars from Big Leafy Tree to say, I think part of it is also people trying to figure out which way the wind is blowing. It's unclear where the next bag is at if you're on the right. Yeah, honestly. Who do you want to, whose train do you want to jump on? Do you want to jump on JD Vance's? Do you want to jump on Tucker Carlson's? Who do you think's going to have, who's going to be the center of gravity for the right-wing discourse coming up? I don't know. And I'm sure a lot of people in that sphere are looking for that. They're waiting for that. They're waiting for someone that they're going to be able to rally behind. And there's not anyone there yet. K. Conga says, liberal arguments are relevant. Healthcare, vets care, even the big book said, glean not to the edge. Leave the last row for the widows and forest creatures. Greens Aplenty says that's a physical claim. Oh, you're just arguing with each other. Okay, cool. Don't go on Fabian Liberty. He's welcome on my show. He can come on my show anytime he wants. Well, not anytime he wants, but whenever. Yeah, he still exists. I see him tweeting every now and again. Zero Fox says, James Vagabond from the Marketplace of Ideas. He was supposed to come on today to answer my question about what is communism. If you guys didn't see last week's show with him, I went on the Marketplace of Ideas, and we had a fun little conversation. But he mentioned he was communist, or his buddy mentioned he was communist, and we got a little bit of an argument there. And I asked him, what do you mean by communism? And he was unable to answer me. And is not in the, he tried to give an answer and it failed. He's like, I can't answer you. I have to think about it, and then I'll call in today to talk to you. But he DM'd me and said he had things came up and he couldn't. So fair, right? But anytime he wants to have that conversation, hit me up. Oh, he's backstage? Oh, I thought you weren't going to call in today, brother.
Yeah, I wasn't planning to. I'm hanging out with my gal. I'm a little tired from a full work week selling my labor to the man, you know.
Why? Well, okay, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm kind of judging
Sure,
you for not just hanging out with your girlfriend. Like, is she just in the room
sure.
now? Can we see her?
Well, you know what?
Is she hot?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Um, you know what? No, I try and keep her life segmented from the
Man, I'm
political
just saying
hordes
we
of the
could use some
world,
eye candy on this stream.
understandably.
That's all I'm saying. But I
I'm
understand. Okay.
I'm not ready to give it to you either. I could be your Okay. Well, how you doing?
I'm okay. How
um,
are you?
excellent. Yeah, I had a long week. I did write a 2,000 word manifesto that I'm not going to bore you all with
Jesus
today.
Christ. Like, first of all,
Yeah, I went in.
I
I felt called
understand
out,
having like
understandably.
research and things, and it might be useful to like. So sometimes when I'm thinking of a topic, right, or when I'm going to be talking about something, I will sometimes write about it, right? But I don't show anyone what I write, but I do it so I can be more familiar. It helps me familiarize myself with the subject and the topic. So
Mm,
maybe you writing that 2,000 word essay helped you do so. I don't know. I hope it did. But I guess
absolutely.
the question that's on everyone's mind, James, is
Why communism?
what is
Why?
communism to
What
you?
is communism? I you wondered if I had something of a private definition,
Proprietary, but
and
yes. Yeah.
sure. And I think there's something to that, but my accusation would be that most of the people who discuss communism are not intelligent and they don't have a good idea of what it should be. And I don't think it wasn't that I was unable to tell you what my vision of communism is, but more that I wasn't prepared to have that conversation. I wanted to begin with a conversation on our shared liberal values because the 2,000 word essay I wrote is a vision for building liberalism towards communism rather than arriving at communism immediately. And I think that is the problem that most communists run into is that they hear the end game descriptions from Marx of the stateless classless society and they want to get there as fast as possible and you know they hear about the vanguard of the front of communists and they want to you know it sounds great to just you know win the game and overthrow the conception of the state as it stands against the working people. That sounds lovely, but the reality is that we don't know what that looks like. And so when I say that I don't know quite what communism is, I think that's a little bit true of Marx as well. He couldn't tell you exactly what the full society would look like once it transformed into communism, but he did simply imagine that the state would disappear as we solved for the inequalities that the state upholds. And that, you know, there's a lot of things between now and then that that need to be built and understood and overcome
Yeah.
and that's part of why I didn't want to get into the deep conversation of what communism is because to some degree we don't look at it don't know what it is and more importantly I am more devoted to the liberal project in the short and medium term like
So the issue that we had on the show, if you remember, was that I disagree with you, and I still do,
yeah
that communism and liberalism are compatible. I think
yes
that the more you work towards communism, the less liberal the society gets. I think that communism, and I'll just give you a very simple definition, it's a socioeconomic ideology, right, that believes in a stateless, classless kind of society. Um, is that incorrect? It abolishes private property, right? It doesn't allow for individuals to have their own.
there's
Um,
some arguments there. You know,
hmm,
the distinction would be private property versus property that constitutes the means for production. So the things that we need to provide for ourselves and to work with in a fully realized communist society would be abolished, but that it's they don't know. Marx himself doesn't necessarily know exactly what that looks like,
Well,
or
he did advocate for certain things, right? Like he wanted the dictatorship of the proletariat. He wanted to abolish the anarchy of free markets, right? Um, the anarchy of production, I think he called it, right? Um, yeah, these were things that he wanted and he advocated for. So I would assume that that's what he meant by communism, right? Like, so I guess I'm just wondering, like, one of the tenets of liberalism is the protection of the individual to have a differing opinion of the state. And when we look at communism and how it's been implemented and how people work towards it or work within it, it's always, always, always by eliminating people, right?
yeah,
Whether
yeah.
that be politically or whether that be actually killing them, right? People who disagree. It requires a uniparty in a very real way. And that is antithetical to liberalism, in my opinion.
He, to my knowledge, I have taken the research seriously over time, but I can't give you every argument within Marx's writings because it's incredibly dense and incredibly complex. And like every good communist, I haven't read all of it completely. So I'd like to take it seriously that I am undereducated to a serious degree in being able to fully ground out everything here, but I I think his writings on the revolutionary cause and the dictatorship of the proletariat are overemphasized, and I think that was part of when he kind of got away with himself. And I am certainly against any anti-democratic things. The first 1,500 words of this are like basically saying all communists are trash and liberalism good. So I'm going to work on condensing that down and doing more research. And I'd
Sure.
love to talk to you again sometime about all of
Yeah.
this.
Anytime
You've
you
been
want.
having some great conversations about it. I really liked the conversation you had with Kraut and that other gentleman, and then Sid and
Preston.
Destiny
Yeah. How did you?
and
How did your
Dev.
conversation with Counterpoints and Ryan went last night?
Oh yeah, they tore me apart, understandably. But I think they had some respect for the work that I put into it. It's pretty well written. But I definitely got to pare it down so that it's better for a, a speech or an audience like this.
Okay.
Yeah, I look forward to bringing it to you. We had a great time though. They had a lot of fun
Good.
hating on me.
Good.
As
I'm
they
glad people
as
enjoyed themselves at least. But buddy,
yes.
thank you for calling in. Give your girlfriend a kiss and tell her it's from Wick, okay? And I'll talk to you later,
I don't
okay?
know if I'll do that. I don't think
Bye.
I'll. I will give her a kiss though.
Okay.
Later, brother.
Bye.
Have a great night.
What a I like the guy. I don't know, like if I'm going to ask you what is communism, I want an answer, right? That's not kind of like, well, I actually really respect liberalism and things. No, just tell me what you think communism is. Just tell me. Just straight up. I don't know. Oh, hello. You're live. Muted on your end, sir. We can't hear you. You got to unmute. Click the unmute button. Anytime. Okay, buddy. Man, we can't hear you. Seriously. Um, I can't unmute you. You have to unmute yourself. I wish I could help you. I can't.
Oh,
Okay,
hey,
there we are. There we are.
I'm
Beautiful.
sorry about that. My bad. Yeah, no, yeah,
Hi, you're live.
yeah, my bad. I don't know what happened. Like, the little thing on my browser came up, but I'm here now, so you can hear me, right?
Yes. What's up?
All right, I just wanted to kind of pivot a little bit and talk about like political violence because that's kind of a thing that I focus on a lot.
Go for it.
You know, I think obviously the thing I don't think anyone would really disagree with me, is that I see that a lot of conservatives just refuse to flat out condemn political violence. You know, I was around for the George Floyd memes and the Paul Pelosi stuff and all the jokes they made, and I kind of see like uniformly, not including some of the fringe leftists that will be like, fuck Charlie Kirk, whatever. They say those things, and I don't agree with that. But I do see a lot of uniformity when they say, okay, this is wrong. What happened to Melissa Hortman was wrong. What happened to Charlie Kirk was evil. We should condemn it, across the board. I just don't see that from the president. I don't see that from any of his constituents, and I think that's a real problem. And I don't know. I don't see a way to, I guess, counteract that. Other than we just participate in it, but I think that would just lead to
Like, wait, what do you
lot of-
mean? I guess so. First of all,
Yeah.
what do you mean counteract it?
Like when something horrible happens and they don't condemn political violence or they foment it by posting memes and things. I don't see a way that we just don't like I don't like if we say, well, that's wrong, you can't do that, they come back and say, well, you're just trying to limit what I'm saying, you don't it's I'm allowed to
You
make jokes, blah
can't-
blah blah.
Yeah, you can say you can't. What I would do is I would
Yeah.
point it out. I would showcase it, and I would say, this is what the President of the United States said about the death of Rob Reiner, who
Sure.
was a political enemy of his, right? And you say, is this the type of person that you want running the country? You could point out others less serious, right? That aren't, I guess, as high as the President of the United States. You can point out to Jack Posobiec making fun of
Yeah.
Paul Pelosi. You can point out the people who are running cover for the Melissa Hortman assassin, who's saying that,
Mhm.
oh, he wasn't really right wing, he was a Walz appointee, right? You can point all this out and say, look, even when the guy is on their side and he's a right winger, and the reason he's going around killing Democrats is because he believes that the mRNA vaccines were responsible for the death of 400 people in his state or whatever. They'll just pretend that, no, it's not really right wing. Like, real right wing violence has never been tried, basically, right? They'll never really kind of own up to it, but they don't need to, because normal people will see that shit and they'll recognize it for what it is, and they'll be disgusted and turned off by it. So to counteract this, I don't think we need to prevent them from saying anything, but we can
Yeah.
simply showcase it when they do, and I do. I try to, at least.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting because when this whole thing happened at the White House Correspondents' Center, I was commenting. I'm really active on Twitter or X now. That's pretty much what I like to do. It's easier. It's short form content. I can get into conversations with people. And I was in a Matt Walsh thread, and I'm not kidding you. Like, I had like multiple people from his like comment section. I'm assuming they're his fans because they're kind of orbiting his realm. They're like, well, I'm just gonna I multiple death threats and calls to violence for just simply being in there and saying, hey, this is wrong. I forgot what Matt Walsh said, but it was some, I don't know, it was some like very like emotional, vague post about how the left is doing this. They're trying to kill Donald Trump. And I can cite, I don't know, I have a whole list of notes here in a Google Doc. I can cite probably 7 different studies that say most of the political violence, so we're talking like 60-70% of it, it can be attributed to far right actors, and about like 15 to 20 is probably left leaning, and then there were certain spikes for the left like leaning violence in certain years, but for the most part, like the majority of it comes from far right actors. And like even just me in a Matt Walsh thread saying this is wrong, I can dispute this, blah blah blah, I'm gonna kill you. Like that's the reaction, which is just insane to me.
Well, Twitter's Twitter, and you're going to get that, unfortunately. That's not excusing it. That's not saying it's okay, right? But that's going to be most people's experience on Twitter, is when you have a substantial disagreement with a larger figure, that people will tell you all the wonderful ways that you should end your life. That will happen. I will say this, that again, I don't require, right, perfection from any side, but I will say that the best thing that Democrats can do in this environment is 2 things. 1, condemn the violence that does happen on our side. We can't be hypocrites about this. The guy who tried to assassinate Trump was obviously someone on the center left, right?
Mhm.
Based on all his posts, based on all the data that we have, his manifesto, he's pretty center left, right? We can't pretend that he's not. 2, point out that Republicans, Trump, and his administration are the biggest purveyors of rhetoric that leads to or rhetoric that exacerbates political violence. And I think that's all we need to do. And it's working, to be clear. It's working. Like, our strategy is working. We are going to win big in the midterms. We are going to wipe the floor with them. Yeah. So, my thoughts.
Yeah, I would just, I agree. I think the best thing we could do is just call it out and point it out. I've been trying really hard, and I guess it's hard when you're just kind of like a regular person on the internet and you don't have a big audience. It's hard to I've been trying to engage and have conversations with people and talk to right-leaning people. And I tried to talk to Andrew Wilson a while ago back in December, and we had a whole thing set up, and he kind of just kind of crapped the bed and ghosted me.
I guess I didn't see it, so I can't really say how
Sure.
accurate this is, but I did see a lot of people. I saw a clip of him saying that it's better that the Iranian schoolgirls were killed, right?
Yeah.
Because otherwise they would have been raped. It's a real argument that he made on a debate he had, I guess, last night, and people are tearing him up for it. Again, I didn't
Yeah.
see the whole debate. I only saw that clip. It was a crazy clip.
It's insane.
Yeah, but people are just excoriating the guy. It's worse than Picklegate. It's worse than the
Snizgate?
Snizlicker stuff, right? Like, people are just tired of him, right? So
Yeah.
that's good. That's good news. And so
Yeah.
don't take it personally that he's not gonna talk to you anymore. You can probably get better guests than that guy. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably a good thing. I have to look into the Iran thing because that's pretty crazy, just based on how you describe it. That's actually
Well, the clip
then-
here. Let me see if I can find the clip
okay.
and just look at it.
Somebody in your chat said that I had to root for. I didn't realize Owen and he were debating. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought they were kind of. I mean, maybe I'm just out of the loop. I thought they were kind of on the same side, so I didn't realize that.
Who? Owen and they're debating about the Iran war. I believe. Here's the clip. Let me get it up for you. Not a very long clip. It's about a minute 48. Are you ready? Can you see it?
Sir.
What did I say? In the future, it'll go down.
We'll see.
Why?
I hope
The
that's the
speculators
case.
say
I hope
same
that's the
thing.
case, but that's not the case right now. And Americans are struggling financially, and now here we are in another war in the Middle East, and we're sick of it.
Are you going
We're
to blame?
sick of it.
Are you going to blame market speculators?
I'm going to blame Trump for getting us into another war on Israel's behalf. Yes, I am going to blame Trump for that. He did that.
So help me out here. Can you tell me all of the downsides of Donald Trump killing pedophiles in the Middle East?
First of all, do you know every single person? Were those schoolgirls pedophiles?
It's institutionalized in the Iranian
Just
Constitution.
no. We're the 200 schoolgirls pedophiles.
You want to make sure that they're alive so they can get raped? But that aside, no, of course not. But there's going to be deaths inside of a war.
Okay, so it is a war.
Yeah, I didn't say it wasn't a war.
Does he need
I'm not going to
congressional
quibble
approval?
over the word, even though there's no ground invasion, there's no boots on the ground, there's none of that.
I can't
just
hear
wanna
anything.
Know, how is
Can you not hear any of this?
No. Oh, hold on.
That's on you. I'm not doing it again. Okay, no.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Hopefully did my audience hear it? I hope they did. Okay. Yeah, and again, just based on the comments, I haven't seen the thing, but just based on the commentary alone, he got fucking crushed. He got destroyed. He got annihilated. He was decimated. I haven't seen it though. Maybe I'm wrong, right? But the comments you see on the YouTube channels, the comments you see on the X, yeah, the only people defending him are the people who are like crucible heads, just in general, right? And they'll just defend anything he says or does. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, how does that? I would say, like, how does that bode well for, like, obviously we have to, like, maybe ignore people like that, call them out, whatever. But there seems to be like a lot of that type of extremists, or not, I wouldn't say extremists. There seems to be a lot of like kind of ridiculous rhetoric on that side. And we also have some certain people kind of in our camp that they just happen, they're on the left side of things. I mean, do we just like call it out and say and just be like, that's ridiculous. We're not gonna follow that. Like, just don't pay attention to people like that, because there seems to be like a lot of people that I don't even know if he believes in what he's saying. I just think he wants to be like seen.
Well, that's most influencers, man. They want to be seen, as you say. Like, so what does it say? Like, unfortunately, we are in a system where it rewards virality, and that does not help accuracy and truth telling. It hurts it because the virality comes from being sensational, from being quick to get something out, and from being clever. None of that points to accuracy or truth. And I don't know how to fix it. I think that it just is something that we're going to need to learn how to adapt to get the truth into the virality. And I wish I knew how. I don't. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do find it troubling. I mean, not like when Andrew Wilson says, or like or Hassan says, it's like whatever, like they're ridiculous. When like Trump or his cabinet members, when they're like, when they're making these proclamations about how they want to go after people who like, speak negatively about them, I do think that's a bit troubling. I don't think it would be as easy to like overturn it, the First Amendment, for example, but it is troubling when people with real power are openly stating that if they're gonna post about us or say negative things about us, then they're gonna be treated as enemies. I think it's something I'd never seen before until now, until the past 5-10 years.
I don't know, right? It is something that is getting worse. It's getting louder, I'll say that. But it's been worse before. Like, if you remember the 60s and 70s, political violence, I think, was higher than it is now, right? We were talking to like a bomb almost every week going off in the Pentagon and other places, right? So I would just caution against getting too black-pilled. There are things that we can do, and the midterms are coming up, and we're going to win those. And we're going to win them by a lot, unless something drastically changes, which I don't think it will. So yeah, that's where we're at. I don't know. I'm a little low energy right now. I'm sorry, buddy. Is there anything specific that you wanted to delve into or to talk about right now?
Yeah, so like on the topic of the midterms, I mean, what do you think of like something like obviously what happened over the weekend with the White House Correspondents' Dinner? Like, is that enough, or is something like that enough to flip the midterms or risk it
No.
maybe potentially negatively?
I think if it was successful, yes, then we would lose the midterms, right?
Okay.
If someone had actually succeeded at that, I think we would lose the midterms. And I think we would, I just don't see a world where the public rewards anything like that. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. But it was remarkable to me how no one really cares about this assassination attempt. It wasn't really... it didn't really make the pop in the news that the other two did, right? Now, maybe that's because no one was actually killed in this one. Maybe it was because it wasn't at like a live rally and it didn't pop off there, right? But we did have live footage of the president and the vice president being escorted out of the building, right? And we have live footage of the guy just Narutoing past the security. But even that, like, nothing. Like, it just didn't really hit the news that hard. Obviously, people covered it, but comparing this to the first assassination attempt is much more subdued. So I don't think it's actually going to move the needle at all. And I don't know I don't know how I feel about that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree, because on one hand, obviously we want to win the midterms, but on the other hand, you're worried about like potential. I mean, I don't know, maybe like people being desensitized to something like this. Like if something crazy happens and somebody does get killed or there's a terrorist attack somewhere and people just go like, whatever, what's on TV, like what's going on online today, it's like, it is a bit like, are we okay? It's like are we as a nation, are we feeling fine or we just don't give a shit anymore? I agree. It's like, I want to win the midterms, but I don't want us to be detached.
I think that, unfortunately, you're going to get one of your wishes, but you're not going to get both. I think that people are detaching because things are becoming well, it's just so exhausting, right? When every day is a new disaster, it's hard to continue to care. Like the Comey indictment. I really give a shit about that. That's a huge attack on everyone's First Amendment rights. It's just blatantly a partisan punishment of a political enemy for something that everyone can see, every reasonable person knows wasn't an actual threat, right? It should have, that should be the end of the Trump presidency. In a fair, just world, people should obviously say, okay, this is too much. We do not allow this kind of thing. And he becomes a lame duck president or he gets impeached, right? That alone. And that's just one of the attacks on free speech he's made. Today, he's also going after Disney for having Kimmel on because Kimmel made a joke a few days ago about Melania being excited that she's going to be a widow soon, okay? It's a distasteful joke, but it's well within the bounds of the protected First Amendment speech. And again, Melania and Trump didn't like it, and so now the FCC is investigating Disney for having Kimmel on. And it's a direct punishment. And again, so it's hard to be at the level of care enough for all the things that are happening that I understand why people are disconnecting. And why people are like, I don't have the mental energy to deal with this constant stream of bullshit. And so a lot of people are disconnecting, unfortunately.
Well, like you said that, in the 60s and 70s, political violence was, a lot worse, but we didn't have social media. We didn't have this constant connection. So you weren't updated, every minute about something new happening. So it was harder to become desensitized. You'd read about it in the paper, or you'd hear about it on the radio, I guess, or maybe watch the news at night. But nowadays, every minute you can get a notification, this thing happened here. Trump said this, or there was an attack here or whatever. So it's it's like a constant stream of just horrific things.
Yeah, and so people are like, you know what? I can only be at a level of stress so high for so long, so I don't care anymore. And they will deprioritize these horrific things in their minds and be desensitized to it and not really give it the reaction that I think it deserves. And this is true for both the Trump assassination attempt and the Comey indictment as well. Neither of them are getting, I think, that the level of care, right, that both deserve. But that's just me. But anyway, man, thank you for calling in.
Thanks
I do appreciate having you on. And I'll let you go.
All right.
Okay. Great times. Great times. Okay. Oh, Zero Fox says, are you arguing with chatters? Why are you doing that? What else we got? Okay, so that's probably it for tonight. I'm going to go eat dinner and walk my dog and all that fun things. Maybe play some video games. I appreciate all of the people who called in. I appreciate all the viewers. I appreciate all the super chats. I appreciate all the likes. And the Twitch subs were helpful as well. Thank you for all of that. What do we got coming up? So tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern, so a little later than normal, Gelatinous Rube, Ash, been on this show before. He has made the claim. He has audaciously called me out and said, Wick, you are just like Hassan. There is no daylight between Wick and what Wick advocates for and Hassan and what Hassan advocates for. And I think that's a wild claim to make, and I'm curious to see how he's going to defend that. So I've invited him on the show tomorrow to tell me why Wick and Hassan are twins. Guess we're gonna find out tomorrow. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's gonna go for him. But we'll see, I suppose. So that'll be fun. And on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, we're going to have on Bishop, who's going to tell us all about Lockheed liberalism. And I'm also excited for that. And if I can get someone, I'm hoping to have a show Friday on the Comey indictment. But I'm going to need to find someone who's willing to defend the indictment. And I don't know if I can do that, brothers and sisters. Yes. Mercado, thank you for the raid. I appreciate you. Toby1 Kenobi says, will we have a definition shorter than 2,000 words? We'll see. Man, Rob Noor won't come on my show. He doesn't like me anymore, but that's okay. The feeling's fucking mutual. So, maybe we'll get actual Justice Warrior or something. We'll see. Okay, that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow.